Hey, what's up everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. This is our shirt, I Am Black Wall Street, in case you're wondering what I'm wearing today. People tend to wonder about that. You can actually get them in the Your Black World store at store.yourblackworld.net. But anyway, I don't want to tell you about how to get a shirt. I wanted to talk about Cornel West, and who is a person that I really admire tremendously. He's somebody that I think stands as a beacon of tremendous intellectual light in a world that's sometimes a little darker than it should be. Anyway, I saw Cornell was on Bill Maher's show, and he and Bill Maher got into it about endorsing Hillary Clinton, and basically it was really interesting that Maher went off on, or went hard on Cornell about not endorsing Hillary. And and instead he's endorsing third-party candidate Jill Stein, which I actually think is a better option than feeling like you have to pick Trump or Hillary. And so anyway, I saw Maher saying, well, do you think that Hillary Clinton is going to, do you really think that Jill Stein is going to be the next president of the United States? And Cornell basically said, we shall see, that kind of thing. And he was like, look me in the eye and tell me that. And so anyway, Cornell, held his ground, and I thought that was great. But I think that I think that debate was very interesting because it reflected everything that's wrong with American politics. Everything, the biggest thing that's wrong with American politics, to me, one of the biggest things, is people are short-sighted. I mean, these people are thinking about who's going to win the next election. They're not thinking about what's going to happen to America in the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They're thinking about what's going to happen in the next 4. That somehow the next 4 is more important than the next 40. And if you want to know why America's in the mess that it is right now, politically, economically, socially, whatever area you want to talk about, educationally, you go down the list, it's because you got all these people that can't see past the next 4 years. You got politicians who can't see past the next 4 years. You got school board members and people that fund the schools that can't see past the next 4 years. You got all these leaders in our community who can't see past the next 4 years, and that's why America's falling apart. Anybody who's able to have a longer term view on anything usually wins the battle. Let me tell you a little secret. In Japanese culture, there are some corporations in Japan that literally have written 200-year plans for their businesses. So they're not thinking about the next 4 years. They're thinking about the next 400 years. And guess who's going to be at the top of the pile in 200 years? You see, Malcolm always said that the future belongs to those who plan for it today. And I would just generally say that America has a problem with what is called myopia. Myopia is short-sightedness. When you can't see the long-term view. It's almost like think about people who just live day to day. It was like you only live once, and they just doing whatever feels good. They want to have sex, they just go have sex. If they want to go use drugs, they use drugs. If they don't want to work, they don't go to work. If they don't want to plan, they don't plan. They don't want to study, they don't study. What happens to people like that? Their lives end up being fucked up. Excuse my French. Y'all know I cuss by now, so whatever. It ain't like you don't cuss. And so as a result, our country is being fucked up because we got people that are thinking like Bill Maher. I don't dislike Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher is fine. He's, as far as white guys go, he's better than most. But from the flip side of that, I think that Bill Maher has a very paternalistic attitude toward black people. Bill Maher kind of looks at black people as if you're supposed to fit into the box that he thinks you fit in, because somehow he's like this superior white guy who identifies with us a little bit, but at the same time, while he's identifying with us, he's trying to shape us and mold us and take us in certain directions that he wants us to go into. So, for example, it reminded me of when he was upset, again, with him being a liberal. That's the problem. When you get in line, too closely aligned with these white liberals, you start realizing that they're not there to support your agenda. You're there to support their agenda, right? They're like, look, nigga, what are you going to do for me now? I helped your black butt. Nobody else likes you. I like you. But since I like you, you need to do what I tell you to do. It's almost like a pimp. Like a pimp will put clothes on you and feed you and take good care of you, but the pimp also expects you to get your ass out on the corner and go make him some money. So that's kind of what happens. Black people get politically pimped. And so what I saw with this conversation, the two conversations, I'm going to go back to the one I mentioned earlier. One was, I remember he was talking about Barack Obama and the Gulf oil spill. And I remember Bill Maher saying that he really didn't expect this from a first black president. He expected Obama to be more progressive and to really attack the spill. And he said, I'm thinking that a first black president would walk in with a gun on his hip and shoot somebody in the foot and be like, you need to take care of this shit now, blah, 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 blah. And what it was he was sort of, I guess, impressing his stereotype of what blackness means onto President Obama, who has his own version of what it means for him to be a black man, mixed race, or whatever you think he is. Same thing with Cornel West. I don't like this idea of him sort of telling Cornel West that because you're black and because we're cool, you have to endorse Hillary Clinton. No, Cornel West is smarter than Bill Maher. Cornel West, he's not as powerful, he's not as rich, but sometimes people think that because you're on TV and you have a big white network backing you, that somehow that legitimizes you. I'm sorry, Bill Maher doesn't have the legitimacy of a Cornel West. Cornel West has a level of brilliance that far exceeds Bill Maher. If Cornel were white and Bill were black, Bill would not be on that show. Cornel West would own the network. Let's just be real about that. Let's break that down real quick. So anyway, him sort of putting this weird pressure on Cornel and as if the next election is all that matters and that you have to make one of the choices that has been presented to you is just intellectually unfair. It's intellectually immature. It's not beneficial to the country in the long term. I don't really give a shit. I don't think Jill Stein's going to win the next election, but I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. I'm not voting for Hillary or Trump. I'm not doing none of that shit. And if we lose the election because black people voted for Jill Stein, well, maybe next time the Democrats will step up and do a little bit more for the black community. Sometimes you sacrifice, like in baseball, they have a sacrifice fly. That means that sometimes you hit the ball and you know that the player's going to be out, but what you're hoping for is that the sacrifice will pay off later on. Your ancestors sacrificed in the past for you to be where you are right now. Sometimes you got to sacrifice an election to win future elections. Do you understand? Or to get what you want in the future. Don't think about the next 4 years. This next election ain't about the next 4 years. This political pimping that's being done by other people, I'm not a fan of it. I don't support it. I'm not going to buy into it. You're not going to persuade me to do none of that shit. I'm not doing. No, if something does not make sense, I'm not going to do it. Period. If Hillary Clinton, if I'm looking at Hillary Clinton, I'm seeing a woman whose husband sent all these black men to prison, who's done these treacherous things to African countries and Haiti and black people around the world, I'm not voting for her. You can't trick me into feeling like I'm trapped enough to feel like I don't have a choice anymore. America is supposed to be a democracy. In democracies, you're supposed to have choice. Most of y'all, even those who are voting for Hillary or Trump, don't feel like you really have the choice that you want. So to me, if you want real freedom, you got to fight for it. But if you go along with the, with what everybody else is doing or what people tell you to do, then it is what it is. I'm not telling you what to do one way or the other, but what I'll say is I'm not doing that. So with Cornel, I don't like I don't like Bill Maher disrespecting Cornel. I remember him making a joke about Cornel West getting booty calls, because again, it was like one of those like, oh, I'm cool with black people, so I'm gonna say some stereotypical black shit because I know Cornel West is a black man, so I know he up in them booty calls, dog. No, man, like seriously, Cornel West, I'm not saying he doesn't have sex, but I will say that, that you got to, Bill Maher has to kind of get rid of these weird images of what he thinks blackness is all about. He reminds me of that. You ever knew that real down-ass white kid who just like overdid his blackness in order to be connected to black people? You know what I mean? Like every stereotype in the book, almost like he studied a textbook so that he could really fit in with black people. Like Bill Maher kind of reminds me of that guy. Like he probably thinks every black man smokes weed, carries a gun, calls women bitches and hoes, listens to rap music, don't want to go to school, wants to go shoot somebody, wants to go to prison. Like I really think Bill Maher kind of sees black people like that, and it really bothers me because it's like a weird kind of racism. It's like we like you, but we don't really respect you, and we really kind of think that all of y'all are supposed to fit in a box. Well, politically, I don't think we should have to fit in a box. I think people should do what they want to do. And remember that this election, voting is not just about winning the next election. Voting is about winning as many elections as you can. Voting is also about taking care of this constituency and the demographic that you care about the most. So if you don't feel that the politicians that are in front of you can support your demographic, and if you feel that acquiescing and giving them what they want right now is only going to lead to greater acquiescence in the long term, then what you're doing is you're getting this sort of short-term comfort of following the crowd, and with it, which has a huge long-term sacrifice in that they're going to respect you less and less and less and less and less. process. It's a lot like letting the bully keep punching you in the face because you think that if you punch him back, he's going to punch you harder, and you're scared of that, right? Or you're afraid that if you're thinking that if I just let him keep punching me, then maybe eventually he'll stop. No, bullies don't really stop punching because you don't fight back. Bullies punch harder. Bullies punch longer. They'd see you as the easiest target. And black people have been politically bullied for a long time, politically pimped, and we're sort of seen as, as like the weak little kids on the block. Like, who the hell, who cares what black people think? You ought to hear the way these white politicians talk about black people when black people ain't around. It's sad. It's really sad. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm about to get out of here. I'm still in Houston. I got one more day. If you happen to catch us in time, you can go to drboycehouston.com. We're showing Resurrecting Black Wall Street, the blueprint today. I'm also giving a lecture on how to turn your child into a millionaire. Just, spreading information, spreading knowledge. I'm all about building the community. I'm not really concerned about this election because I believe that if black people get mobilized and black people push hard and are strong, we're going to rise no matter who's in the White House. And that's what I think is really important to understand. A politician ain't gonna save you. You've had 200 years of evidence to show that that's not the case. What's gonna save you is what you do for yourself. Getting bold, getting strong, educating your kids, building your community, building your wealth, keeping your dollars, doing all these things. That's what's going to gain power in America. That's the real black power. That's the new black power. That's our black power. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the next 200 years. I ain't giving a shit about the next election. So sorry. I don't know if that hurts anybody's feelings, but that's just where I'm at. All right. By the way, we're starting the Black Wealth Bootcamp soon. If you're interested in joining the Black Wealth Bootcamp, you got 2 more days to sign up. Go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's the online class I teach on black wealth building, black cooperative economics, black entrepreneurship, etc. Also, we have a bootcamp style scenario for kids at the Black Financial Leadership Program. You can look at that at blackfinancialleadership.com. That's blackfinancialleadership.com. I'm out of here, guys. Love you. Talk to you soon. Peace.